What is going on, you beautiful people? JESS here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay analysis. Today, we're going to be continuing the tournament series, specifically the A Mariner Cup 4. For all of you that don't know, the A Mariner Cup is the premier Advanced Wars by Web standard tournament, and we're talking about round 2 this time. If you haven't checked out my round 1 game in the A Mariner Cup 4 versus Steezer, I highly recommend it. I talk a lot about not overcommitting and prodding for opponents' weaknesses, so you can learn a lot from that. Anyway, this is round 2, and it takes place on the map Belshire Beach. Honestly, I have no idea what this is a reference to. It's probably like sci-fi or hentai. Honestly, all things in the Advanced Wars Discord, when I don't know what they're talking about, could be summed up as either sci-fi or hentai, so it's one of those two. Anyway, it's an interesting map. It's 3 base with a very forward airport. That's about the most notable thing. The HQ cannot really be that threatened. The most contested properties on this map are actually these ones right next to the silo. This property, and also this mountainous property over here. The middle and the sides are all contested, but the most prioritizing in terms of most contested is this property, just to go like a straight line. And actually, you can actually try to deny your opponent's property if they take too long to capture this little property over here. A copter from the green team over here can actually interrupt a cap. So if you're not careful, that these two could also become contested properties, particularly if you get an artillery over here in this general vicinity and lock down that property. But the most notable thing about this map is the forward airport. Other than that, it looks pretty standard to me. So let's talk about the CO matchup really quickly. This was a tier 4 matchup, meaning you can pick Jake, Adder, Jess, Sonya because it's standard, Grim. These are basically the most common picks anyway, but there's a reason I think a lot of people picked Adder on this map. So Adder is very popular on this map for a lot of games because there's a forward airport, and Adder is the best air unit guy in tier 4 because his battlecopters get a bonus when he uses his CO power, unlike all the other COs. Jake doesn't get a movement bonus, and Jess doesn't get a movement bonus. No one else gets movement bonuses except for him. The thing is, I did not pick Adder. I actually tested out this game playing as Adder, and I decided not to choose Adder for a couple reasons. Number one is the income. The higher the income map is, the typical Adder gets worse and worse. I categorize Adder in the day-to-day ability realm, whereas Kindle, Max, Von Bolt, the lower the income, the better they are, because they're more day-to-day focused. Because you're going to have a lot more earlier battles and you're fighting over properties that matter so much more. Whereas the larger maps with more income, you gravitate towards Hawk, Drake, Eagle, because those superpowers are so much more powerful the more units you have. But when you have less units and lower income, those day-to-day powers matter a lot. Adder actually does not have any special abilities, however I do group him into the day-to-day power COs because he gets his CO power like every other turn, so it almost is a day-to-day thing that he gets the extra bonus. Because this is a 23 income per side, it is on the higher side. And this usually goes into a late game on this map. It's not a quick finish map in most instances. That's why I chose Jess, because she's one of the best high income COs on this map alongside Jake. I didn't see that many planes here, and I like the firepower bonus in her super and CO power better than Jake's on this map. That's why I chose Jess. Weaker infantry, you're going to make a little bit of issue fighting in infantry fights on the side, and the copters aren't going to be quite as good, but I think the investment for the late game is what makes Jess so powerful, and the wall breaking. Adder has a lot of problem wall breaking in late games. He leads those early fights and decisive victories. That's how Adder shines. However, the longer the game goes on, Jake and Jess, they're going to take over tier 4. So for that reason, that's why I chose Jess, but I completely understand why a lot of people chose Adder. So we're going to have a clash of the titans here. Now let's talk about my opponent, Fluffy. He's actually a content creator himself. He's very talented. I highly recommend you check out his channel. He does a lot of streams, playing live games, both Fog and Standard. Very competent player. He is technically rated 1300, though I would self-assess that he is higher than that. He's a very competent opponent. I prepared for this match because I didn't want to take this guy lightly, even though I am technically higher rated than him by a couple hundred points. I knew this guy, he's no slouch, and he's beaten Poland, one of the best Advanced Wars players, in live play multiple times. I think I've seen him beat Poland 3 or 4 times in live play. This guy's no joke. Anyway, I prepared a lot for this map. Like I said, I originally picked Adder, and then I moved on to Jess, so I was well prepared. Anyway, without further ado, let us begin this match. So I'm in the bottom in the green beans, and Fluffy's over there in the top in the black hole, so you gotta get your base first. That goes without saying. And you also want to get this as your first cap because look at this chain. As early as you can get the airport, the better, so you can actually get a chance to interrupt this property if your opponent is slacking off. And I actually opt to do a different thing. I go for this back cap over here and actually skip this double chain right here for the income because I want to get this chain instead. Like I said, these two properties are the most contested on the entire map. If I can somehow sneak this property, it is really hard to flip those properties. It's easy to deny, hard to flip. So if I can lock down one of these or both of these properties would be great. I am sitting pretty because if I get it early, a copter can't deny me. But if I get it late, then a copter can interrupt my cap over here. But once I get that, even if a copter comes, I can put an artillery in anywhere in this vicinity. I can have an infantry in any of this area, and I can interrupt the cap quite easily. So that's why I'm sneaking my infantry forward. Now, Fluffy does a good move over here. Instead of going for the back cap, he goes for this forward area because this will actually allow him to get the comm tower the same turn, actually a turn earlier than I do, which is when like the fighting spikes. So it's actually like a very underrated move that he had right here. I really liked that move by him. I'm going to get it one turn later. Usually player one has an advantage on this map because you get the first comm tower, you get the airport first, and you're in the middle first. So I think there's a player one advantage here. I didn't choose it though, but I got lucky in terms of that and that ability. So Fluffy gets the first tank though. I'll have the second and third tank because you have to make sure that it's equal for everyone. If he gets the first and the third tank, that's not fair. So he won't have enough money for the tank next turn. I build my first tank in this over here. Not building a tank over here because I need a lot of infantry to cap over here. If I build a bunch of vehicles, it's going to take me forever to cap these properties. The earlier you can get these properties in the corners, the better. So I'm prioritizing capping over here. And this infantry is actually going to be going for this property quite early because he's going to get a copter very, very soon. So notice how I'm not capping neither of these properties or this back property with this infantry. Fluffy does the same thing, although instead of going to here, he goes down. I think he still has enough time to capture the property before my airport comes into play though. I think he actually realizes this next turn. I have a nice tank over here. I put it in the middle. Like I said, JESS's tanks are slightly better than Adder's, which I also enjoy. And I'm also prioritizing infantry over here as well. I'm not going to stop that. These are safe properties. These are the two contested. These might seem not safe, but they're incredibly safe for both players. Another reason why I chose JESS, the vehicle reinforces to all contested properties within 2 turns. So these infantry fights are not really that isolated. It is incredibly easy to reinforce your vehicles, your infantry with your vehicles. So the Adder, infantry fights aren't going to really be completely by themselves. They're going to have some involvement from in vehicles all the time. So I centralize my forces. I put this tank over here because I thought, maybe he's going to sneak this in right there. One of the most contested properties. I cannot allow that. So I'm going to place the tank over here. I don't think his tank can 1, 2, 3, 4. It cannot reach me. So if he skips the cap over there, I can hit him without any penalty. So that's why I moved it over there. Getting my infantry in range to capture this property if I can be so lucky. Remember, prioritize these two and these two properties as early as possible. I'm spamming out tanks right now. I'm probably going to build a prophylactic anti-air next turn because he's going to be building a copter. Notice how I have this property in the nick of time. If I wait another turn or two, copter next turn would interrupt me and I probably wouldn't get that property for a long, long time. Smartly, he goes this turn. Honestly, if he waited one additional turn, I'm building a copter and I'm interrupting and he has no anti-air in range. Anti-air are incredibly important on this map, so you gotta build them. He puts a tank here, which I thought was curious for a couple reasons. I have JESS tanks that are stronger than Adder tanks and I can hit him from a silo. So this is both of us will have 3 defense. If this was a plane, I would understand it slightly more. But this is a silo, so I'm going to get a very cost-effective engagement right here. So that was honestly like the first thing I saw when he took this turn. Another thing of note that I'm going to mention is that this game was actually played sort of live. We originally were going to take our time and stuff, but we kind of got into a groove and we're just taking our turns back and forth with a ton of observers. So there's an added stress and a time crunch. And notice how I can also block this in. And I don't want to risk his tank interrupting here, so I've basically guaranteed that I'm going to get this cap right here, which is beautiful. I was so happy this turn. I felt like I started getting a decisive advantage over Fluffy. I was able to get this property and take a very cost-effective engagement over here. Honestly, that tank doesn't even reinforce. I think he might have messed up here. He should have put his tank on the city. But even if he did have this tank on the city, it's not a cost-effective. He's using an attack there. Maybe he can put his infantry on this and block. That would probably be the best he could do. But I still don't like that engagement. And because he had a bad engagement, I feel comfortable here. Instead, of going double tank like he did, I felt confident enough to go for an anti-air. I would not have gone for an anti-air had this engagement gotten a lot worse for me or was equal, because I can't afford to be behind on tank count. But because of the recklessness by Fluffy in the middle, I had that insurance blanket. I can build a prophylactic anti-air. I'm going to place it here next turn and get close to actually locking his airport. With the power, I can reach this in 2 turns. I'm probably not going to get a power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, maybe it's with a superpower in 2 turns, but it's good to have it outside first. You want to have an anti-air before your opponent has a copter, typically, to deter them. And as Adder, I know he's going to be building copters, because that's the whole reason you would pick Adder on this map over Jess or Jake. The copters are better, so it's quite obvious he's going to build a copter. I don't like this engagement here. Road and plane hits, also within range of my airport. As Black, you want to be fighting over here more than over here, because I have a 1-turn reinforce from my airport and a 2-turn reinforce from my tank, or from my base. Both my bases, really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, not quite from both bases, but we're getting there. From these 2 bases, almost all 3 of my bases, to be perfectly honest. I wasn't kidding about the vehicle reinforced earlier. But he has a lot of tanks. And I have this anti-air, which, like I said, was a disadvantage to me, but hey, we'll pull through. So I do a few interesting things here. I go for my caps. Shift my anti-air up here, like I said. Not only threatening the airport, but also threatening this infantry. Can't cap the most contested property that easily. And I'm getting positioned to snake it out myself. I go to heal my tank, take a very cost-effective engagement, and hit that 7 HP tank. Since I have a comm tower, that is a 1-hit KO, probably a roll. A lot of people right here might have been tempted to attack this 5 HP tank on this forest, perhaps. But I'm just going to lose an 8 HP tank for a 5 HP tank there. A net loss of 3, basically. Maybe you get 1 damage on the counterattack or 2 damage, but that's a net loss. Instead, I'm a little more patient. I also interrupt that cap. I decide to heal my tank rather than fight it in the middle. It makes more sense to me. Why would I sack something to heal a 5 when I can heal it up and it's full HP again and it's just brand new? Like, it just made a lot more sense to me. I built my copter over here, so any more engagements on the silo are going to be smacked by a copter. He has no anti-air, so not only will this copter smack a tank attacking over here, but it also is defending my infantry. Like I said, the earlier you can get these properties, the better. The reason, the airport will block everything, basically. So I have to fight and get these properties as soon as possible if I want to get anything, because the copters are going to start flowing. Black should eventually win these properties over me. Even though my base is closer, the airport is such a good reinforce, Black should get control of these 2 minimally, and hopefully that 3rd property likewise over here. These should be under my control, these 2 at least, because I have such a great reinforce with my copters. But he gets a little ballsy here. Attacks with a 5 HP, does another 2 attack right here. Maybe he was hoping for a roll? There's a 33% chance at 2-hit KOs there, but that's too much of a roll. And then maybe put the infantry on top right there, but that seems so dicey. And also, it's also in range of my copter, so I didn't quite understand this move. He was playing pretty reckless at this point, to be honest. I was not expecting this level of recklessness from Fluffy. Maybe the live league, or the live aspect of it kind of got to him, because he was making a really aggressive plays as Adder versus my superior tanks. And this is also completely out of range, even with the power. He's not going to be able to reach. I was a little worried here that he would sack some units to get his superpower, then he'd hit my copter, then he'd get some follow-up hits, and that would be very concerning. So I didn't want to allow that to happen, but I'm able to weaken his tank severely, kill off the other tank, take a nice engagement. This is, I mean, my infantry are weaker, but attacking from a mountain, I'm taking those any time of day. Attack the full HP one to stop caps rather than to weaken off that other one. Sadly, I do not quite have enough juice to reach that copter, so I have to position it in the middle where it defends both these at the top and in the middle. So the anti-air has to kind of wear 2 hats. I go right here, defends everything basically. Especially when I have a power. It doesn't look like covering everything, but once I get 1+ movement, I'm covering basically everything. And if he attacks with a copter down here somehow, I also have a copter as a deterrent. Kill off his infantry. I'm honestly feeling incredibly good at this point. However, Fluffy, he's not gonna just let me win, you know? He's a good player. Similar to Steezer. I get a little cocky and you guys will see. So, he goes for this cap. He needs this cap so badly if he wants to stay in the game, basically. And he starts a wall right here. Starts copter spam, so he's really playing to Adder's strengths right now, and I have to be careful. And he's actually saving up his power wisely. There was not that many engagements. He took 1 engagement over here, There was no other reason, and attacking my infantry, of course, but no other reason to use his power. Smart move to bank it up, so you can have 2 powers later or 1 big superpower. Smart move by Fluffy. But I cannot allow this cap. I need to have this advantage. I go for a roll here. I don't know what the roll was. Maybe it was around a 50% chance. I debated attacking with the infantry, but that's also a roll, and I really don't want to be upset by that, so I go for the safe kill and interrupt with my anti-air. Now, because this anti-air is very exposed to these tanks, I have to immediately build a new anti-air. As soon as you expose an anti-air, build a backup, because once they kill your first one, all your units are exposed to copters, so you better have a backup plan. So as soon as I expose it, I also bring this anti-air here. It covers everything possible except for this top infantry. And I have 2+ boosts, so 1, 2, even over here I can reach because I will have a superpower in my pocket next turn probably. But he's about to have his Adder power spike. Adder has the earliest power spike in the game because he gets the power first. Then Jess gets the later power spike later. So it kind of goes back and forth, but the first spike always goes to Adder. So if I can weather that and play equal at that point, I'm incredibly happy. Usually Adder will get an advantage. So if it's equal after his power, I am sitting very pretty. I position my artillery in this really beautiful spot over here. Honestly, any of these tiles are really nice. It threatens this property over here. The best is probably the HQ, so I can defend against him trying to cap my property, but I don't have enough units to really block effectively, especially if he uses his superpower. So I play it very safe right there. And I make a little mistake here. I probably should not have attacked this infantry. I probably should have doubled up on this one. This is the real contested property. I should have doubled up rather than going for this one, because there's no way I'm going to stop both these properties in the long term. I should have just given them both up. I should be focusing on the most contested property. However, and I'm going to lose all 3 of these infantry basically because of it. And he uses Sidewinder. Not Side Slip, Sidewinder. The reason being, he wants to reach this copter over here. Wait, can he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He cannot reach. I don't know why he's Sidewinder. Maybe we'll find out. Oh, so this can reach off the base maybe? Boom. Okay. That's a pretty good tactic right there. Will they be able to finish off my anti-air? That remains a question. That is a good counterattack right there. Boom! That's the power of Jess, baby. Can he finish him off? He can. And now, like I said, if I didn't have this anti-air, these copters run wild. So glad I built that anti-air. If I did not build an anti-air this turn, it is suddenly Adder who is winning the game. That is how important, when you expose an anti-air, building a new one is. And my anti-air will easily be able to reach either of those copters with a superpower or power. So, very important. Very glad. But then he's also capping. He's doing a lot of things at the same time. That's when you want to attack, you want to overwhelm your opponent so they have to choose between stopping caps and killing units. If you do it all at once, it's a lot harder to adjust and respond than doing one thing at a time. If you just went for caps, I stop the caps. If you just went for kills, I kill the units. But if he does both at the same time, I have to respond to every single threat Fluffy is putting ahead. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to be losing these units. He has unit superiority on the sides over here. Weakens my infantry over here, but I have a vehicle to back them up, although I'll probably bring it up north. Builds another copter. Like I said, the copter spam continues. I'll probably build another anti-air after this turn, because after I kill a copter, that's going to be exposed. So like I said, every time you expose an anti-air, build a new one, baby. I use my super rather than my CO power. Honestly, I didn't have to use my power here. I could have saved it. In retrospect, I probably should have saved it, because I could have killed off this copter and saved up my another anti-air for a superpower later on. This tank could have still reached even without a superpower. I didn't need to use my power here, any power at all really, but I don't know, we're playing live and I felt like I needed to. Anyway, because I have it, I might as well get better terrain, right? Instead of attacking from a shoal, I attack from this plain. I move my infantry and stuff in line, so I defend this artillery, so now he has to back the blup up. Another anti-air, like I said, I'm very good. Prophylactic units, they're very important. If you want to get good at Advance Wars, don't only think about the here and now, think about next turn and how you're going to have to react. He wins these 2 properties, I can't really stop these. I can stop that one, but I'm going to lose all my units if I do. That's a free hit for him because I used my power. If I saved it up, I could reach him next turn, but I can't. So, oh well, lesson learned. Also, one thing of note, this tank over here had nothing to do. So I didn't have to use my power, like, what is it going to do? Attack this infantry and get hit by a copter? Sad. Sometimes your units have nothing to do and they just twiddle their thumbs. That's a sad reality. Better that than sack it, though. He combines units, goes for this property that's not happening. He retreats but also captures. I don't like that. Usually if you're going to retreat, just run away. Back the blep up. You don't want to be capturing things because I'm going to easily stop them. Combine my units because I'm prioritizing captures now. I am ahead via this one property, but he's about to be ahead 2 more K at least, because he's going to capture these 2 properties, and I don't have any of these. Another thing about Adder, he is better at capturing properties too, because his infantry can move quicker and farther away during his powers. I do not have that advantage. He also teched up to a medium tank. I was kind of surprised by that, because if you tech up to Jess, I'm going to win the tech up war. My Neo tanks are stronger. My medium tanks are stronger. They get firepower bonuses. All he gets is movement bonuses. He doesn't get firepower bonuses, so hey, you want to tech up, go for it. So I can barely interrupt that cap right there. Like I said, it's feeble to stop those, so I don't even bother. I go for a kill instead. Get a free hit. Barely out of range unless he sacks to get power, but I calculated he didn't have enough, so he's not going to kill that copter. He has the income advantage now, which is okay. I need to get this property right here. I'm praying to get it. He's being a little defensive and also trying to capture again. I'm not going to allow that. I'm really not going to allow that, so I was a little confused by that. Medium tank comes in. He's starting a medium tank chain. I'm like, you want a medium tank, war boy? I'll bring a medium tank in. At this point, I'm getting a little scared though, because another power spike is coming. Adder's going to get the first power before I get my power, so he's going to get a first strike on me that I'm not expecting with firepower bonuses, etc. I shift my anti-air up here because it does 2 things. It damages the infantry, prevents this cap, and prevents him from offensively capping mine, while also airport locking. So it does 2 dual purposes. Actually, it'd bring him another vehicle over here. Speaking of, I kind of feel this isn't really a threat. I don't think he's going to capture this, so I'll actually bring 2 vehicles up here. It remains to be seen if this was a wise move, but because this makes all these other vehicles weaker because I have less reinforcements. Now he has 2 tanks. I have 2 tanks rather than having 3 tanks. So a little interesting. I built a medium tank from down here because I'm worried about him shifting a medium tank down here. And I shift over here. I basically allow him to capture this property if he gets a power, because I don't think he's going to be able to build a wall here. And I'm also kind of baiting him. I'm like, I hope he kind of goes into fight here because I have a medium tank, I have artillery. This is in 2 base reinforced range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If he goes over here, he's getting out of 2 base reinforced range, so I'm kind of baiting him to overextend here. And he does. Kills off my tank. Kills off another tank. Hits my artillery. Kills my artillery. Significantly weakens my infantry. On paper, this looks really bad for me. But now, because of that, Adder kind of gives up his advantage of getting the power first, and I will get the power first. So I'm about to, have a world of hurt for this guy. And another thing Fluffy didn't realize, because of that power, I can actually reach this copter. So I need to get that power. I will sack units to get this power, because I can kill that copter and kill this copter with both my anti-airs, and then he'll have no copters, which is huge. So I'm so glad he fell for my overextension bait. I am the master baiter after all. Boom, that should give me enough charge for a power, or close to it. And I get the most contested property over here. So happy. Now I'm starting to feel very confident in my position. Starting to feel very confident. Get enough charge. Power comes in. First thing I do, like I said, kill the copter. Kill the tanks. Get a really good engagement here. Really good. 2-0. This is from a silo onto a road. This is, what more can you ask for? And it's within reinforced range of my other medium tank. Got a really good hit over here. I can attack with my tank over here, or I can go over there, but I'm winning so hard over here, I figure I'll bring my tank up there. And I'm feeling so cocky, I base skip. Actually, I might combine this unit so I can get him. Nope, I base skip. I love my golf balls. I love my Neo tanks. Hey, he has a medium tank line. I'm gonna bring a Neo tank. Good luck beating that. So he keeps fighting on though. He's fighting in a range. Sure, he gets a copter kill, but these are all gonna die. These are all gonna die. He goes for this very ambitious cap. He's trying to overload me. He's going for all of these caps at once. But I'm not gonna allow that. At least I'm not gonna allow all of them. And he triple base skips for a bomber. When I saw that, I was like, Fluffy, my dude, I understand the airport's really good, but I mean, my Neo tank. So I'm just going to build double anti-air this turn. And that also allows me, I'm behind on unit count. He could have had 25, 26 units. Instead, he only has 23. So I'm actually behind on unit count, but now because of that, I'm going to be ahead. So first things first, kill the tank, stop that cap. I'm not allowing that. Really good engagement again. From a silo onto a road, 8-4, beautiful. One-shot the anti-air. Neo tank comes in range. When you see a bomber, one anti-air doesn't suffice because it will one-shot your anti-air if it's on a road. Maybe even a plane if there's a roll. So because of that... Oh no! I thought I was going to build 2 anti-air. Oh. I guess I was really concerned about this HQ plus these infantry over here. I didn't want to get a winning battle over here, so I built this to reinforce, I guess. I thought I was going to build 2 anti-air. Maybe it's because I thought this one would heal up and I wouldn't need to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will cover this, assuming the bomber does come out and one-shot my tank. However, Fluffy, he's a good tactician. Watch this. Boom. Kills it. Like, yeah, I can't reach this anymore. Unless I get a superpower somehow and one-shot that, this is not reaching the bomber. So, good for Fluffy for finding that tactic right there. Boom. Finally, kills off my Neo tank, or medium tank rather. That's my first one. I already did all of this damage to him, and that was just one of my medium tanks. So I am loving life in terms of the middle right now. I'm winning the tech up war. He is down to only 60,000. Now it's higher because he bought some units. But I'm feeling incredibly good. I'm ahead 1k by virtue of having this property over here, and he does not have this property. The thing that Fluffy was able to do, though, he lost a lot of units, but he was able to secure this cap. He overloaded me. I had to respond to these medium tanks and other units. And because of that, he was able to secure the most contested property for him. Not this one as well, but... So he had some winnings off of it. It wasn't like it was all moot point. There was something to be proud about. So because of that, he's probably not too upset. And then, boom, that Neo tank. So the thing about this over here, sure, it's a one-shot, but it is completely out of range of my Neo. You want to keep this bomber centralized. You want to be threatening the most units possible. If you're off in this corner over here, what exactly are you going to do? What do you do? You're going to wiggle this pipe seam and destroy it? You killed a 7k tank, but this costs 22k. You triple base skip for this. That's not what you do with a triple base skip unit. Killing off little tankies. No. Anyway, now I'm starting the anti-air spam. Feeling very comfortable. Triple tanks. I'm winning the tech up war. I don't see any reason to build any more, medium tanks or anything of that side. Anyway, he uses Sidewinder, another superpower. Typically, you don't see our adders spamming superpowers. Typically, you see the powers. Why did he do it? We'll find out. Boom! Okay, this is why. His infantry start massacring me on the side. Massacre. There's an infantry massacre. And now I'm starting to think, oh, I thought I won? Bomber goes back, as he should. But now I'm starting to get worried. Why am I getting worried? Well, first off, he's got 2 big teched up units now. And he just murdered a lot of my infantry. If you look at the actual stats, I have more deaths than kills. He has less units because he's base skipped so much, but he actually has more deaths or more kills than deaths. My infantry have been dying. They've been murdered. And this is at 1 HP, this is at 4 HP. They're barely alive. So he's gonna get all these properties. So I win the war in the middle, but what do I have to show for it? I have to win something more, surely. Well, this is kind of like a distraction. Maybe there was a distraction for Fluffy. And then he goes and swipes all the properties over here. I can't build a copter because I'm airport locked. Very smart move by Fluffy, sneaking in those little properties. So I have to bring my tanks in. That's why I built 2 tanks over here. Sneaking them back over there. I need to stop him from capping those properties. I am really, really not allowing this property. And alright, okay, you're going to capture those properties, I got to capture this property. If you interrupt it, be it with a medium tank or a bomber, I'm going to massacre you with either a power or a superpower. So he can't really interrupt that. There's no infantry to stop it. So he has to sacrifice a heavy unit to do it. Bomber comes in again. Sure, he found a tactic. But you have to look at the bigger picture. The bomber is still far away from the units it wants to target. It wants to target the medium tank, and it wants to target the Neo tank. It is off in the corner and la la. No one cares about that. So I don't mind at all. More importantly, though, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to lose all 3 of those properties. He has 25k, and I have 20k. That's a 5k disadvantage. Okay, maybe it would be 3k because I'm going to sweep this property probably. But that's no joke. Fluffy was able to secure these properties. That was a really good Trojan horse. Granted, he paid the price. He lost a lot of units. So I don't know if it was worth the cost. And I'm playing a little sloppy over here, but hey, if I'm playing sloppy, I don't really care as long as his bomber's occupied. My Neotank can run wild. Going for this property over here. How does he stop this? The tank can reach, but I can block with a unit. I'm able to stop that one property. Thank God. I feel comfortable enough getting back these properties later, but once he gets this property, I'm probably never going to flip it back again. Second of bomber. Kill the unit over there. I block the tank. Yeah, I don't know why it shows that, but I block the tank. He cannot reach me over here. The only way to interrupt this? There is no way to interrupt this. There is no... I'm getting this property 100%. I'm going to have all 4 of the middle properties. Those are really hard to flip, mind you. I'm feeling incredibly good. I build an APC because I know I'm losing these properties. Next turn, I'm going to put it on this city over here, start boosting infantry so I can recapture these properties. It's day 19. There's a 35-day limit. Whoever has the most properties at day 35 wins the game. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to go on that long, hopefully, or else I'm screwed. But he captures both properties. He has the income lead temporarily. And he goes for the lab, too, I guess, because that counts, and then he resigns. So, that was a really crazier battle than I thought. When I first started this match, I thought it was going to be very calculated on both our sides, but both of us played a lot of mistakes. I think our macro ideas were sound. Like, my idea of distracting the bomber over here was sound. I lost a lot of units. My tactics weren't particularly good because we're playing so quickly. But my main idea is of, controlling the middle and baiting him to overextend. I think that the macro was good behind it, but the execution was a little lacking at certain points. And there was also like a tank glitch at a certain point. I don't know if it shows, but I thought there was a tank here that showed full HP tank. That's why I surrounded it like this. And then I refreshed the page and there was no tank. I was like, what the hell? Because I moved my medium tank here. I could have attacked this medium tank into one of those medium tanks. Look. See? And then this medium tank could have attacked this 3 HP. Why didn't it do it? Because I saw a ghost tank and I tried to attack it and it wouldn't work. Anyway, that's Advanced Wars by Web sometimes. It's not too often, but anyway. I think this shows that Adder's just not a great wall breaker. He broke through here, but he had to overextend to do it. And he had to sacrifice everything to get this one property. And he got it, but at what cost? My cost of getting this property was much, 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 much lower. I got it early, able to secure it to weaken a tank. I had to weaken a tank to get it. The longer the game goes on, the more you're going to have to pay to get these properties. You got to pay the troll toll to get into the city tolls or holes. Potholes. I'm not, something works. Anyway, I think Fluffy played a little crazy here. I think he's capable of playing a lot better. I think both of us are capable of playing a lot better. But honestly, I enjoy live games like this too. They also bring in a stress aspect to it and a lot more entertainment. There was a lot of people watching too. So overall, it played out in my favor. And I think I almost call him Floppy. Floppy took some bad engagements, but he has a lot to be proud of in terms of his tactical. I think I played better macro, and I think he played better tactically overall. And in the end, macro matters more because it's affecting more of the map. And because of that, I was able to secure the most properties. And long term, I'm going to get these properties back. But good game to Fluffy. Thanks for playing versus me. It was an enjoyable match. And yeah, check out Fluffy's channel, by the way, if you haven't. Like I said, he streams pretty frequently. And he's a good player. He plays Poland on stream and beats him, which is very impressive. It's hard to beat people while you're streaming, so this he's no joke. But anyway, I had a lot of fun. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys were entertained and you learned something, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.